Hey everyone, welcome to Will's Creations. My name is Will. Today we'll be making a mailbox swag. So I'm making this for our mailbox here at the house. I thought, you know what, I'm making it anyway. Let's just do a video and show how I make these. So I have a mailbox set up. What I have here, this is just a saddle like you use at the cemetery. This was what they call a double saddle. It came on out and had two more legs on it. Well, I cut it in half. I didn't have a single one, so I cut it in half and then I cut the little prongs off and then I just zip tied a piece of floral foam to the top of it. And then what you do is when you bend this like this, it hugs. So some people call this a mailbox huggy. It's a mailbox topper. It hugs the mailbox, and so it's on there. Okay, and then those just hold it on and stay. So what we're going to do is we're going to green this up. I'm going to use a little bit of leather leaf, which I normally wouldn't use this if I was going to be selling it, but this really does hide the mechanics well. This is going to be for me. I use this more in cemetery work when we're doing it, but I'm going to try it on here and just see. So what I'm going to do is you definitely want to hide these legs because you don't want these legs showing, on your mailbox. So I'm going to leave one hole. I'm going to come in and just stick it at an angle right here and let it kind of hang down. I see that already laying there hides that. So we're going to just fill this in, just by sticking these in. And I like this leather because you're able to bend it and manipulate it to go where you want it to go. I've got a bunch of little pieces too that I've used on other projects that I've saved, but we'll see if we need that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill these in. I'm just, like I said, I just want to cover this a little bit. There's a lot of green here, and I've got a lot of greenery and flowers to go on it, but I just want to cover these mechanics as much as possible. So I'm just going to start sticking this greenery in here, and you can bend it a little bit. I cut that one. You probably don't have to, but I'm going to use all the pieces that I can. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to try this one without cutting it. It's just that it's so long and so big, but what you can do is you can take this and you can bend these to go where you want. I'm not going to use this to be seen. This is just going to be to hide mechanics. So I'm probably not going to cut it. I'm just going to stick it on here like you see me doing now. What I'm doing is I'm just sticking this in the foam and I'm bending it because this has wire in it. Bending it like this to hide the foam. So I'm not trying to get this pretty because this is not going to really be seen. This is strictly to, as we say, hide mechanics and give us a green base to work on. So I'm just going to continue sticking these in and bending them down all the way around this way. And I'm going to pop this off and turn it around just so I can work on the other side. So as I'm going around it, you'll see. Normally I had this setting on my Lazy Susan and I can spin it around, but I didn't get it up here because the camera is actually setting on the Lazy Susan today. So, but all I'm doing, like I said, is just hiding the green. I'm not worried about making this look pretty because this is not going to be seen. This is strictly hiding mechanics. Now I'm going to cut this one a little short because the reason being when I get to the front, I let some lay out on the mailbox and you may see it a little bit, but I don't want it too long, but I need it to hide that foam in there. Okay. So we're just going to keep adding pieces where we see fit. There's no right or wrong with this. If you see a hole and you don't like seeing foam there or something, stick a piece of this leather leaf in it. This is a very inexpensive greenery, more so than some of the others. So it comes in a 12 pack when you get it. So I'm probably going to use about 12 on this just to, fill in. But we can always add more when we get down to the point where like, I still need a few pieces here. So I'm going to save a little bit. But I do have some of these pieces that I actually fixed on my pick machine. I'm going to stick in here as well just to fill in and hide, as we say, hide mechanics. So anywhere I see foam, I'm going to stick some of these little pieces. I don't want to get too much in there at first because you're going to want to be able to get your flowers in there. But like right here on the back, you can see, if you look up under here, you can see it. So I'm going to take a few of these little small pieces and just tuck up in there just to hide that foam. Okay, that gets us started. Okay, so now we have something that looks like this. Looks like it's having a bad hair day. This is what we have to start with. So I'm going to set this back on the mailbox and we're just going to start filling in with greenery and flowers, and anywhere we want something green, I've got several ferns here. We're just going to start sticking them in. So this is just another fake fern, silk fern. And I'm just going to start sticking these in. Like I said, there's no right or wrong. I just want stuff draping over on the sides. This just helps hide the arms, that I call it, or it's the legs, whichever you want to prefer to call it. But this just helps hide all that on these pieces. So I'm just taking this, kind of sticking it up at an angle so that it hangs. It doesn't have to be even on both sides at all because, there's just no need. We're just taking this greenery and this fern and we're just sticking it in, making it wild and it look like nature. Yeah, there's going to be some on top, some on the bottom, just everywhere that you want some greenery or want a piece of green sticking up, or just hide your mechanics is all we're doing with all this greenery. And like I said, you can save a few pieces of it to add in at the end. Once you get everything through, you'll be like, I can see through it right there, or I see I need something else right there. Then, by all means, add a fern or add a flower or add just whatever you want to add. The only thing I do say when you're doing this is make sure that your flag on your mailbox will still open and close, but this can actually slide back on the mailbox, so we'll be fine. Okay. I'm going to raise it up again real quick just so I can see on the back. But as you see, when you first start doing it, it looks really wild and crazy, and you're thinking, this ain't going to be nothing. But then when you're finished, it always just seems to work out to be pretty. But all I'm doing right now is just taking this fern, and if I see a hole or I want a piece sticking out there, or I'm just looking like, I want a piece sticking out here, I just stick it on there. This really has no rhyme or reason. We are strictly covering mechanics at this point. Okay, so that's what we're doing. As you see, I'm just sticking it in anywhere that I see fit. Now I do have a front and back because the way I turned it. This is the front, and the only reason is because I have these laying out longer that will lay on the front of the mailbox. So that's why I said that's the front. All right, so we're going to stick this back on our mailbox. And you're looking at it thinking, boy, what a mess we have right now. But it will work out. We have a bunch more greenery laying here and little leaves. So we'll go through these as we need them and fill in spots and pieces. And the only thing I'm going to be using on it today, really, I'm going to try to use on it is ferns. Got some little extra pieces of greenery here that I took off a plant that I've cut little pieces. I did use my pick machine and pick them, but we'll come in later and stick these in just to give it some movement. The flowers we're going to be using, I'm going to try only using 2. I've got some little yellow sunflowers that are really cute, and I've got some big reddish orange. They're not really bright red, they're not orange. They're going into the fall look on here, so they are still red, but they're kind of got a little tip of a yellowish orange on them. So that's the flowers and mechanics we're going to be using. My wire cutters, because you gotta have your wire cutters when you're working on this stuff. So let's just start working on this and getting our shape. Now, normally when I do regular flower arrangements, I start with the flowers first. In this case, I started with the greenery just because I wanted to cover most of the mechanics and make sure I didn't have any big holes or anything, sticking up anywhere like that. So this looks wild right now, and you're thinking, whoa, okay. Follow the process. Just trust it. Trust the process. Okay. So we're going to take our flowers. Now, I don't want these super tall. Like, you don't want it way up here, obviously. You're going to want it cut down. So these leaves do push. I'm going to leave them on here. A lot of times I will take the leaves off, but for right now, we're going to leave them. Like I said, this one is strictly for my use here at the house, so I'm not going to glue it. If I was taking this to the shop to sell or going to be selling it to someone or on Etsy, I have my glue skillet over there. I would glue each piece in there just to ensure that it stays and there's no problems with it. But like I said, this is for me, and I change them out every season. I do spring, I do summer, I do fall, I do Christmas, I do all of it. So I change these out all the time. So I'm just going to start sticking. We're going to start with about this high. And just see, we look at the mailbox. That's a pretty good height because you want it to kind of dome off and come out. So I think on that one stem there was, let's see, how many I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's only 5%, so I may use 2. There's this one that I've cut, but I do have another one laying over here off to the side that I have that has 5 more. If we need them, we'll see. Okay, so I'm going to look at my arrangement. I'm going to start looking and be like, okay, that's a little long. So yeah, again, we're going to cut this back. We're going to cut it down some because I don't need it that high. So that's one reason I like doing silks. If I cut that too short, I can always add a skewer, add a stick, add a stake, and make it bigger. Fresh flowers, I can't do that. When I cut it and it's too short, it's just too short. There's nothing I can do with it. Okay, so I got one here. So now I'm going to come on the other side and put one on this side. Like I said, I do cut these, not super short. I leave them kind of long, but that's because if I need to cut more off, I can. Like I said, we can add to them and make them longer, but I try to leave them pretty long so I can get where I want. So I'm going to look about where I've got this one, and I'm going to come on this side and attempt to get one in about the same location on this side. Generally, it's a mirror image. What happens on the left happens on the right. What goes up must come down. I got one and one. I know it's hard for you to see that side, but I've got one here, and one here. All right, so that's my first part. Now what I'm going to do now, I'm going to bring one at the front toward me and one at the back, and then I will fill in with the others if I need, because I do like them to be pretty full. So I'm going to cut this one a little shorter because this is going to be in the front, laying on the mailbox, so I don't want it sticking out too far to interfere with the lid closing or the mailman getting mail in there, or any of that important stuff that has to go into a mailbox. We don't want to interfere with any of that. Okay. So I've got 3 there now, and I will turn this around and show you. Let me move these over where I can turn this around. I'll spin this around and show you the front, just so far what I've got. Okay. So when you look at it from the front, we've got the one on top, got the one in the front, and one on each end. And I'm going to put one in the back. That's one reason I turned it around. I want one back here in the back. And like I said, I may cut a few more off the other one. We're going to see. I kind of like this, but I may put one more here and one more here just to fill it in. So won't use that whole bush, but we will use some of it. Now, in my case, I have to leave the back ones a little shorter because on my mailbox, the way the pole is set like this, where the mailbox is, so when this is up against the pole, very short room there. So I have to make mine back here in the back a little shorter. Just so there's no problems. Okay. We turn this back around. So now if you see what we got, basically what's in the front is what's in the back. So again, I've got the line going through here. I've got one here. I'm going to come in with another one probably here and here, kind of offset, not straight out. I don't want a line, but one here and one here. So I'm going to cut 2 more of the big sunflowers. Kind of short still because you don't want them super long, but I'm going to go ahead and cut just a couple of more here that I know I want. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in offset. I'm going to stick one back here, and I'm going to bring the other one up here just to, change it up a little bit. We're going to fill in with that yellow and then add our greenery. So these don't have to be complicated at all. The only reason I'm doing these at a little bit of an angle is I don't want them directly just in a line coming across, so I'm kind of breaking it up a little bit. Lay this off over here to the side so I don't get in the way. So yeah, I'm breaking it up a little bit so that they're still showing, but they're also like, okay, I'm liking this. So I'm gonna turn it back around and show you. So this is what we got so far. This is the back. You see the main flower in the back. I've got the flowers here. I got one here and here, one here and here. But I will turn it around and show you. You're looking at the back. Here it comes to the front. Here's the side. Here's the front. Okay. So this is what the mailman's going to see every time they come up to my house and complain about my. No, they don't. They don't really complain. They don't ever say anything about it. I do leave it where they can see the address on the mailbox because I also have it on the front of the mailbox on the door. When they pull up, they can see it, and I also have it on the pole so they can see. But this is from the side, and as you see, this line is now offset. They're not. You kind of have it stepping. You got here, here, here. Then I got here. It continues down. Okay. So this is what we have so far. Okay, I'm liking it. All right, I'm gonna take some of these little yellow ones now and start filling in. I don't want it super full, but I don't want it like too empty at the same time. I just want this to be a simple mailbox swag. I was gonna put a bow on it, but I decided I don't think I want a bow on it now. So we're gonna see. I'm gonna cut just a few of these right now. These little bushes only have 4 sunflowers on it, so I'm gonna cut about 3 of them. I brought 5 over just in case, but I don't know if I'll need that many, so we'll see. We'll start with 3 and see where we go from there. Now, I do see I have a hole right here, so I'm going to bring this one right in here and let it come in. I probably should have glued these, but like I said, if I was going to sell this, I definitely would ensure that these are glued in. But this is strictly for my house and for me, and I don't worry about it because like I said, I change them so often. This will only be out there a couple of weeks and then I'll have another one out there. It'll be about time to put the Christmas one out. So I don't really glue them because whenever I get finished, I take all this out because it's faded, throw it away. I save what I can. If it's not faded or something, I'll save what I can and I will use that again or as a filler for my next arrangement when I'm making it, because they can get expensive. Flowers have gotten so high here lately, along with everything. So I do try to recycle my materials for my stuff as much as possible, and that's another reason I don't glue it. In case I want to come in and use this in something else, I can. All right, so here's the front so far. I'm going to work on the back, but you can look at the front while I'm working on the back. So pretty much the same thing. I've got one here, so I'm going to come right here on the back and do the same thing. Like I was saying a while ago, what goes up must come down. What goes to the left goes to the right. What goes in the front goes in the back. So that's pretty much my formula that I follow. It's not a tricky, hard formula or anything like that. It's just if what goes on the left goes on the right, what goes up goes down, vice versa. So I'm really liking the simplicity of this one. My summer one or my spring one that was out there, it was spring and it kind of went into summer because the flowers on it. It was pretty full. But this one's gonna be very simple. But sometimes simple is nice. Now I'm not gonna lie. There's times when I can go over the top on these, and I do a lot. Rock will look at me and be like, "I think that's enough in it." And I was like, "Well, it needs something here. It needs one here." And he's like, "Okay." He's like, "I think it's done, but if you want to keep adding it, you go right ahead. That's you." But he goes, "Me personally, I think it's done." I'll be like, "Well, it just needs one more." Of course. So I'll stick it on there. Being my little self, I'm gonna have to get that last word when it comes to the flowers. I'll be like, "No, it needs one more. I'm putting one more right there." So, and then usually I end up taking it out because he's right. I'll be looking at it and be like, "You're right. That's a little That's a lot right there. Let me take this one out. He'll be like, told you. That's when we just ignore him. We're like, hey, don't let him know he's right. Don't tell him he's right. All right, this is very simple, but I'm liking it. I think I'm just going to add greenery, and we're going to call this one done. So I'm going to come in. This is the back, very pretty. Again, side and the front. So this is very, very simple, very, very easy to do, and a very nice, like I said, simple arrangement. But what I'm going to do is I've got a bunch more ferns, different ferns, because I really, 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 really like fern. These are just silk plastic ferns. These are, I think these are from Walmart, but they're a really good fern. They bend. So I'm just going to come in around the flowers and add some of this fern. Gotta find foam. I didn't leave much foam in there. As I always tell Rock when I'm looking, I'm like, didn't leave no oasis, did I? He'll be like, mm-mm. Rocky doesn't really do flowers, but he will help me. Like if I'm working on something, I'll be like, where does it need something? He'll be like, oh, you need something right here, or add a little piece of something right here. So every once in a while he does them, but he'll usually just stand up, tell me from the point of view of where you're looking at it from the outside, where it needs something. So right now I'm just adding this little plastic fern. And I'm using plastic on this because it is going to be outside in the elements. I mean, this does sit on the mailbox. So, I'm not going to use a lot of silks because I want them to last. So I'm just using a little bit of fern, different kinds of fern, little pieces of fern, big pieces of fern, just stuff. Rock likes fern, so that's one reason I'm doing this one with a lot of fern in it. I'm making it a little more masculine. The spring one it had little light pink flowers, a little bit of light pink flowers in it. So it still wasn't anything over the top feminine, but it was. This fern also has a different kind of fern in it. It also has this kind. There's just a few pieces of this, but I want to stick it in there because I like it. And because it's a fern, so why not? All right. What we're getting so far, like I said, we're just filling this in. There is no right or wrong way to do this. I mean, there's rules when you're doing flowers, like, oh, don't stick a flower here, and if you put one here, don't put one there, and stuff like that. But I just do it to where if I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, there's a hole right here. I'm gonna stick something. I'll just stick a flower in it or a piece of greenery in it, and call it done. So I don't really do a lot of the following. Right here's the front, front of it. See, I just put one of those plastic ones just around, bouncing it around in different spots. So if they're not even in an equal spot, it's fine. Just wherever you feel that it needs it, stick a piece in there. I did pick these on my pick machine, so that's the one reason that they're going in a little bit easier is because they were picked on my pick machine. But basically, this is all you do, and you just fill it in until it makes you happy, or everything's to where you like it. If you think it needs a piece of fern over there to the side or an extra flower, by all means, stick a piece in there. Stick a flower in there. Make it yours. I'm gonna take this one out. This one was a little short and replace it with one a little bit longer. And that was me. I cut it too short and almost cut that one too short. There we go. I like that one. Okay, got one here. Got one. Okay, wait. I need one. Right. Okay. I was looking. I'm like, the side doesn't look balanced to me, and it's because I don't have this one right here. I didn't have the one on the other side to match this one. Okay, there we go. All right, so now from the front, this is the front of it. And like I said, this is a very, very simple design, but it's just, a rounded shape. It's kind of off to the side, a little bit of ferns, a little bit of flowers. So we started, we got the one here, one in the front, one here, one here. And then I came in, these are at an angle, one here, one down here. Then I filled in with all that. Now I do have some more pieces of fern here, but I don't really think I need it. I like this. Um, I even had a few of these leaves like this I was going to put in there, but we might add a couple of these. I got a few of these leaves. They're just a big green leaf. There's just a few pieces of it, but let's just see. We may not need it. I may stick it in here and be like, nope. But let's just see. It kind of reminds me of hosta, which, as summer goes on, the hosta is going to be fading out. So I don't know, but what do you think? I stuck one right here. It don't look bad. Okay. Maybe just a few. I don't need a whole lot of these, for sure. But maybe just a few scattered around on the top. And a few smaller ones we can bring in, like we can have one in here. But like I say, remember, if you stick one on this side, you got to stick one on the other side because it's a balance game. If one goes up, one goes down, one goes left, one goes right. And that's what I'm always telling myself when I'm doing flowers. And then I'll turn back around and be like, there's no rules. You just do. It's not really rules. It's just, it's the way I work on arrangements. If I'm doing something, I'm like, all right, if one goes on the left, I need one on the right. If I put one on top, I need one on the bottom. It just helps me with balance. Is really technically all it does. And sometimes I do put more in the front because this is what's seen from people passing by, from the mailman, so I do put more. All right, I just put a few pieces of this in on the front. We'll see. I put a piece here, piece here, piece here. Got a piece over here on the side. But I mean, I like it. And I can take these bigger pieces because they are bigger and stick back here on the back. Because I've already got them cut and picked. So we might as well use them, right? Right. No rules, no rules. Just fun. Okay. And like I said, I had a bow picked out for this, but I don't think I'm going to put a bow on it. I think I like this more simplistic. This is the front of it. So here it is, guys. I think I could use one more sunflower right here. Let's see. No, that's fine. When I turn it around like this, it's okay. When I was looking at it from back there, it looked like it needed another sunflower, but I don't think it does. I think we're going to call this done. All right, so there we go. Again, side, front, side, back, and back to the front. Now, what I do when I put this on the mailbox, it's tight on here. It's going to stay, but I take where those two legs come down, where the leg is here and the leg is here. When I put it on the mailbox, I take a zip tie and I pull it around and under the mailbox and hold it on there to make sure it stays. So this is it, ladies and gentlemen. This is our mailbox swag. I had all this greenery that I just thought I was going to stick in there, and then I ended up not using any of it. A few flowers left over, but this is our mailbox swag. This is how I make them. This is a very simple one, but like I said, this one's going on my mailbox. It was not for anyone other than me and my personal use. So I hope you all liked it. Thank you so much for watching. If you've not, please like the video, please subscribe, share the video, sprinkle it around. This will also be posted in my group, Will's Creations, on Facebook. It's Will's Creations and Gifts. There's a little group on there you can join where we do stuff like this. I'm going to start doing more lives on there. So if you'd like to join a group, please come over, have fun, enjoy. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all have a great evening. Bye, guys.